Here's Jeffnet, and by default, when you open Jeffnet, it shows you page 44, which is your open time, and it defaults to today's date and base. So you can see there's 2 trips right now in open time. First trip reports at 15:24, releases at 15:24 the 9th, so that's tomorrow. Sequence 5762, it's on a 737. If you ever saw an equipment with a plus sign, it shows the first equipment type you're on, and plus means there's more than one kind of equipment type. So this first trip is a 1 leg there, 1 leg back. It pays 10 hours and 31 minutes. You lay over in Portland. It's position number 1. It's actually a nice trip, I think. Look at that. Yeah, that's not bad at all. You want to see who's your crew? You can pull down and it will look up who's on each crew. It's doing like the NS thing. I just got a notification while that's running. It's saying I'm now number 13 for 1 day, number 5 for a 2 day, number 4 for a 3 day, and number 4 for a 4 day. So they're probably going to use me today. Dismiss that. Okay. So where is my sequence data? All right. So now you got a show crew button. You can see who's on this sequence. Yeah, that's not a bad trip. Okay, close that. And let's say you want to see what's in tomorrow's open time. You hit the calendar, hit the next date, and hit search. And boom, there's all the trips in open time for tomorrow. And let's say you're only interested in 3-day trips. So choose days, put 3, search. There's your 3-day trips. And so by default, it will show you your 4-day trips, 3-day trips, 2-day trips, 1-day trips in that order, and then it will start earliest report time to latest report time within that group. So that's screen 44. Screen 18 is your reserve callout list. Now, if there's one thing that's just not intuitive here, it's the negative numbers. So if you ever go down to 0, or go down to 1, this is next up for the 1-day trip. And -1, they are the first up for whatever their aggressive preference is. -2 is after number 1, and so on. So by using negative numbers, I was able to combine the aggressive reserve list and the non-aggressive call-out list into one page. The grayed out people, they are people that were used, and if there's a contract code like 12K2C, it explains the contractual reason why they were used. So if you don't have in your head what 12K2C is, you just tap that and it will explain it. That is a reserve on a rep awarded a sequence. So they rep A, they're good for 1 day, that's a seniority number. This is when their rep began and ended. They got this trip here, and if you want to see what the trip does, tap it, it'll show you the trip. So it's just an Atlanta turn. Shows what time the trip reported. They got position 1. They have no standby clicks. The COT, that is your call out of time. That's the hours and minutes you have towards calling out of time. Wow, that person had a lot of hours already. And this call out days, that is, they're only good for, they're number 2 on the call out list when they were used, I guess, for 1 day. Okay, so gray means they're unavailable. Wrap A, group 2, that means they're good for 2 days. ASG, that's your number of daily clicks. And last is your seniority number. So if you touch your number down here, it says I'm number 13 for 1 day, number 5 for a 2 day, number 3 for number 4 for a 3 day, number 4 for a 4 day. And this open line, that says in open time right now, there's no trips that I am legal to work, like within my wrap in open time right now. So that Portland trip must be gone now. Okay. This ASG says I have 2 clicks. Call out time means that got 18 minutes and 30 minutes, 18 hours, 30 minutes towards calling out of time. And let's say I choose tomorrow's list by tapping on that. Tomorrow's list is not out yet, so this is showing me the percentage historically used for this particular day of the week based on wrap and number of days of availability. So in other words, let's say tomorrow I'm good for 3 days. So I'll look at the group 3 line. And historically, if I'm good for 3 days and I'm wrap A, they use 39.54% of the wrap A people. And let's say I get wrap D, they use 53% of those that are good for 3 days in wrap D. That just uses a historic average, like the last 3 or 4 times for that particular day of the week. So it gives you some idea if they're going to use you or not. Like if you see like you got 71% chance if you're good for 2 days and you get wrap A, chances are they're probably going to use you. And you can always factor into this like how many clicks you have relative to other people, and that gives you even better idea. And let's say you don't want to get used. If you're good for 1 day and you get wrap D, or wrap B actually is the one to bid for. Wow. Chances are they're not going to use you tomorrow. And when the reserve list is out, it will show you the actual reserve list like it does the current day. Okay, lastly, if you look down here, it says AVL. That means they are going to be available, but their wrap has not started yet. And if you ever see AVR, which maybe you see on tomorrow's list, AVR means they're aggressive. So there's a person who's aggressive. Wrap D on tomorrow's list. So AVR means aggressive, not active yet. AVL means non-aggressive and not active yet. So that explains 18. This is, and one more thing I want to show you. Go back to today's, let's see if we touch this. If we touch her, you'll see a skip score. Back in the day, they were skipping people all the time. And if you ever saw a person with a high skip score, you know that they just shouldn't be on the call-out list. Like that was kind of our way of keeping track of who doesn't actually belong on the call-out list. They've since fixed most of the problems with the reserve call-out list, but they're not perfect still. So this system actually does a lot of processing to try to create a better call-out list than the companies. So let's choose somebody like this. All right, Sergio. Right now, call-out calculated versus AA, that is identical, so we agree on this person's position. But on this one, this is not actually wrong. This AA shows you where you are relative to your wrap, and my system will show you where you are relative to those who are currently active. So it shows the people on wrap A who will get called before you on your wrap. So that's why that's a discrepancy. But sometimes the discrepancy will be not explained because the person's on an early wrap. Like maybe my system knows the person's on a trip and not legal to work, or or something really weird has happened, like the person's on a wrap list twice. Like it just fixes so many errors. So this is probably the most accurate list I think you can be able to come up with. A ton of work was put into making an accurate list. All right, lastly, notifications. It will start you on page 44 notifications. This is your open time notifications. So you hit the plus button, and let's say you want to push notifications. Push means like app notification, email is email notification, SMS is your text message notifications. And the thing that you have to remember the most here is your report and release time. So it's going to look for all trips that operate between these 2 points of time, and they have to operate in their entirety from report to release. Has to be bounded by these 2 points of time you're setting. So let's say I'm good for 4 days. So I'm going to set, it's going to default to right now. So the report's after now, that's good. And then I'll choose release before, and I'll move this to 4 days later. So 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay. And it defaults at midnight. So that will cover all the trips they are legal to assign me today. And let's say I just want to be knowing about the trips that report today. And today is Thursday. Okay, so I put that in there because otherwise it's going to show me the 1, 2, 3, 4 day trips that report today, and the 1, 2, 3 day trips that report tomorrow, and 1, 2 days the day after tomorrow, and the 1 days 4 days from now. I just want to know about the trips that report today, so I'll put that in there. And that's really handy if you're doing standby too. You're sitting standby, you want to see what pops in open time, but you don't want to stock open time. Set the report days of the week in there. You can narrow it by as much as you want. A lot of people have red flag filters put in, and they'll put the report and release dates and times, like to cover a whole month or multiple months. They just leave it alone. And first departure from, that's if you're ever like working from a satellite base, you put that in there. If you sequence number, this one's a little tricky. If you want to just know about we call them system trips, the ones that start with 31K, you put 31%. Where is my percent? You put that down there, and then all the trips that are not in the bid sheet will notify you over that. Okay. Now hit save as. I'll give it a name. And there you go. Now I've got a filter, and I hit delete if I don't want it anymore. Okay, 18 notifications. This one, you're pretty much going to set it once, and then you're done. So you hit the plus button to create a new filter. You choose your notification method. And then you have 3 choices. You can start getting notified when you're between 1 and 9 people away from getting used, or 1 and 19, and lastly, anything. And I built this thing so it will not blow up your phone. So if you're like 60 and you go to 59 on one of the call out lists, it will not notify you. But if there's more than a 5 number drop, then it will notify you. Until you get down to like 10, and then it will notify you for every single position change. So I try to be gentle on your phone by doing that. The do not disturb thing, that's so if you don't want to be getting notifications while you're sleeping, you can set your home base time do not disturb, and then it will look at that and not notify you if your do not disturb thing is set, which actually is something I want to change. So I want to edit my one. It's set to 6. I'd rather have it be like, let's make it 8. Nah, 9. Okay. 9 o'clock. All right. And that changes 9. I hit save. Now I've just modified this filter. So that's 18 notifications.